So we're continuing where we left off in Silent Brotherhood of the East. We're in chapter 6, Yahshua. The highlight in this chapter is Yahshua is presented with his camel, goes to Lahore, where he abides. If no one's familiar with Lahore, that's a city in Pakistan. All right. So a caravan of merchants was journeying through Kashmir. Kashmir is a city in Hindustan, right? So a caravan of merchants was journeying through Kashmir in Hindustan as Yahshua passed that way, and they were going to Lahore, a city of the land, the five-stream land. And remember, I don't know, I posted after the temple, we went to the garment district, and there was a man from Pakistan. And he basically, I forgot the name of the city he said, but he said the name of the city meant the five rivers, right? So that's what stood out to me when I first went over this, that correlation. The merchantmen had heard the prophet speak, had seen his mighty works and lay, and they were glad to see him once again. And when they knew that he was going to Lahore and then across the Sindh through Persia, the furthest west, and that he had no beast on which to ride, they freely gave him a noble Bactrian beast. And when you look up Bactrian, you're going to see basically a camel. They might even call it a Mongolian camel. Bactrian, well saddled and equipped. And Yahshua journeyed with the caravan. And when he reached Lahore, Ajinian and some other Brahmic priests received him with delight. Ajanian was the priest who came to Yahshua in the nighttime in Benares many months before and heard his words of truth. And Yahshua was Ajanian's guest. He taught again in many things, revealed to him the secret of the healing art. Revealed to him the secret of the healing art. He taught him how he could control the spirits of the air, the fire, the water, and the earth, and explained to him the secret doctrine of forgiveness and blotting out of sin. One day, a jinn sat with Yahshua in the temple porch. A bank of wandering singers and musicians paused before the court to sing and play. Their music was most rich and delicate. And Yahshua said, among the high-bred people of the land, we have no sweeter music than these uncouth children of the wilderness bring here to us. From whence came this talent of this power? In one short life, they surely could not gain such grace of voice, such knowledge of the laws of harmony and tone. These people are not young. 1,000 years ago would not suffice to give them such divine expressiveness and such purity of voice and touch. So Yahshua saying, this is many lifetimes of talent. Men, all of them prodigies. There are no prodigies. All things result from natural law. 10,000 years ago, these people mastered harmony. So Yahshua is hearing people sing, and he's saying, man, this is amazing. There's no way they could have learned this just in this lifetime. This is thousands of years of refinement. 10,000 years ago, these people mastered harmony. In days of old, they trot the busy thoroughfares of life and caught the melody of the birds and played on harps of perfect form. And they have come again to learn still other lessons from varied notes of manifest. These wandering people from a part of heaven's orchestra and in the land of perfect things, the very angels will delight to hear them play and sing. And Yahshua taught the common people of Lahore. He healed their sick and showed to them the way to rise to better things by helping others. He said, "We are not rich by what we get and hold, but only things we keep are those we give away. If we would live a perfect life, give forth our life in service for our kind and for the form of life, that men esteem the lower forms of life." But Yahshua could not tarry longer in Lahore. He bade the priest and other friends farewell, and then he took his camel and he went his way towards the Sind. I want to open the floor for thoughts on this chapter.
Islam.
Islam.
Are there any empresses in there tonight that might want to say something first? I don't know if there are any here. All right. 7 and 8 stood out to me a lot, especially 8, because it talks about the spirit of the elements and not necessarily their physical form that a lot of people may link to, especially when it comes to magic and this type of thing. It's the spirit of everything. The spirit is the code. That's what's in the field. That's how you access these things. So that was like a keynote for me to remember. Tap into the spirit of the thing.
Right. Yeah.
I agree with that. There's definitely I've been reading, I'll say reading, I've been learning a little bit more about the spirit of the elements and how they are truly involved in the creation. Now understanding the spirit of elements and being able to tap into them is what gives us our own power.
I say.
Very interested about that blotting out of sin though.
Yeah. Yeah.
That part really stuck out to me. Just on the I think a man from, I'm not sure where he was from, but he was telling me about the pillars of Islam. We were talking about it, and he was talking about how all things are written out. And so the blotting out of sin, that sounds to me literally like crossing out. Like Allah crosses out sins there's a certain way of how he goes about crossing out sins and forgiveness.
Right. 7 also talks about the healing art. So that's another key. Like, it's like those two are really key on a lot of things to unlock in yourself and to help other people unlock.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Anybody else have any thoughts on this chapter?
Well, I got another one. I think it was 14 or somewhere when here we're talking about how long it took these people to perfect the harmonies. And like a lot of people in my family they've been singing since the womb and at church and all this stuff. So it's like I've seen how even if they don't eat a certain way or think a certain way, how they're able to tap into healing frequencies and change their mentality through music. You know, tuning their own body with their voice.
Natural born harmonies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. But that going back, that 10,000 years thing, that gotta have me.
Yeah. He's like, I haven't heard it like this in a while, boy. Y'all been working.
Yeah, man. And then the
I
whole
don't know, was that a hint? Was that a hint towards reincarnation of the soul?
yeah, that's what I was saying, like the whole refinement process. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what it sounded like that's pretty much what he was getting at, was they've been refining themselves
Yeah, perfect harmony
for
now.
the last 10,000 years, as if they in tune with their higher selves, I guess you could say.
Right.
Masterminds.
Yeah.
That's what it brings us back to. It brings us back to being able to circle 7 of masterminds being able to trace themselves throughout the ages. It's kind of, yeah.
See right here, 10,000 years ago, these people mastered harmony.
That's it.
He was saying that to the people he was observing in real time, you know, in the present.
Right.
It was like, man, so that, or my mind went, as I read it the first time, I'm like, yeah, you know, refinement. You know, the memory of the offspring, take it and take it further and keep taking it further. And
exactly that, the perfection of it over time.
yeah.
And also it seems like he's saying it's through observation and mimicry of nature and how it moves and how it sounds that we could find that, which is just looking on the inside of ourselves, basically.
Oh yeah, I see what you're saying with the melody of the birds. Yep.
Yep. Yeah. That's how we learn martial arts and what herbs to eat and everything else.
Facts. So I was telling my sons the other day, it's literally like a memory card that you just instill into the next person.
Right.
Yeah, man. I think the Akashic Records, you know, opens up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Any other thoughts before we transition to astro diagnosis? All right.
It's 19. That's another key one, but yes, that's like the close everything we were saying.
If we would live a perfect life, give forth our life in service to our kind, and for the form of life, that men esteem the lower forms of life. Yeah.
Yeah, if you got perfect harmony on the inside, it's not hard to share that kind of a thing on the outside. It kind of oozes out of you by accident.
Right. Yeah, so much that comes with that over time. Just you know, trying to strive for that. And you know.
Could we also say that by giving forth our life in service, we could achieve the perfect life?
Right. Yep. Yeah. In voodoo, that's one of the main principles is it's basically find excuses to build good character. And how you do that is by service to others. That's the biggest, easiest way to build character.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
because the exchanges, they gave you the opportunity to do it. So there's really nothing else that's owed.
Right.
Yeah. Islam.
Islam.
Right. So we're continuing from where we left off with astrodiagnosis. We're in the kidney still, but in the calculi in Latin. So y'all, I would like to hear at least one definition from what y'all got when y'all looked up renal calculi. I'd love to see what y'all get.
Am I good to look it up now?
Yeah. Because I'm getting like the kidney stone, basically. Like
That's exactly what I got. Hard deposits of minerals and salt inside the kidneys, kidney stones.
okay. So yeah, it'll be like a clinical term, renal calculi. Calculi.
That would make sense because to my knowledge, kidney stones are it's like calcium buildup and whatnot. So calculi, calcium, it's probably a.
Yep, I just said the same thing. Yep, and it's also crystallization or like calcification.
Yeah, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
That's heavy. Okay, so we have a male born September 21st, 1863. Noon. In this horoscope, Saturn is in conjunction with Mars and Venus. Neptune is in opposition to all three, and the moon is square to Saturn and Venus. Mars, the planet of impulse, causes the native to see red. To see red on the slightest provocation. And where he left alone, there would be absolutely no chance of restraining him, save by putting him in a straitjacket, particularly as the sun is square Uranus, which would intensify the impulses and obliterate reason. But the Saturn ray is sufficiently effectual to wet blanket most of the erratic tendencies, for he is in the sign of exaltation, Libra, and highly elevated. Mercury in conjunction with Jupiter, both elevated and enshrined to Uranus, shows that there is a wholesome, kindly, and religious side to the mind. From Mars comes the readiness to take offense, even where no reasonable ground for it exists. Saturn will cause the native or the patient to broom over injuries, whether they be real or fancy. But Jupiter will endeavor or attempt to instill charity and judgment. It is apparent, however, that the forces which tend to accentuate the evil side of the nature are the strongest, and that it is a hard and uphill fight for the high nature. Saturn is the first part of Libra, the sign ruling the kidneys, acts in such a manner that the secretion of urine is obstructed. Mars there causes inflammation. The conjunction of Saturn with the Venus, the latter governing the venous circulation, or the vein, basically circulation in the veins, reveals the fact that the branch of the portal system, which conducts the blood from the kidneys, is obstructed. And the square of Saturn to the moon diminishes the amount of urine secreted. Right, so remember, squares is it's not in harmony. Neptune in opposition to Saturn shows clearly a mental cause of irritability and worry, interfering with the nerve action. Thus, the renal calculi, or we just read kidney stones, are formed, and the person is subject to the most painful maladies imaginable. To help a person of this nature, we must invoke the aid of Jupiter and Mercury trine Uranus. Mars is the great energizer that impels to action, but Saturn in conjunction puts damper on him, and the native becomes indolent, adverse to the exercise generally enjoyed by Saturn or Sagittarians. We must therefore wake the native or patient up to the urgent necessity for exercise and plenty of it. The moon in Capricorn acts in the opposite sign, Cancer, ruling the stomach. And because of it, and because it squares Saturn in Libra, the sign of the kidneys, it interferes with the secretion of urine. Since the necessity for regulation of diet, or hence the necessity for the regulation of diet, nothing of an irritating or unduly stimulating nature should be eaten. The best healer for this person will be one who has Leo rising, as that is in harmony with Sagittarius. Aries is second choice for the reason that an Arian may be too rough and arouse antagonism without so intending. Neither should have Saturn in Sagittarius or Taurus, these being on the cusps of the patient's first and sixth house, respectively. All right, yeah, we can stop right there. Yeah, we open the floor and have a discussion about this, but you know, for people that are just kind of tapping in for the first time with this, you know, we just going over how to diagnose not only yourself but another person, you know, intricately. We've been flowing from the head to the throat, you know, all the way down. Now we're in the kidneys, and you know, giving different examples of different patients with different, you know, solar returns, and showing, you know, what type of mishaps that they had, and kind of showing why, rather it be tendencies or whatnot. And you know, the moral to the story on every chapter is that basically your diet is, you know, cure everything, any type of you know, mishaps or diseases that you have, you know, your diet can reverse it, you know. But yeah, let's open the floor for some thoughts, and you know, how everybody feel about this chapter.
I think it's very insightful, considering my son has kidney issues. He's not. I got to go back and look and see what his sign is. I have it written down. I can't remember, but I'm contemplating now whether or not. Obviously, like you said, we've used diet to pretty much cure majority of his issues that he was born with. But I'm wondering if there's more to the understanding of what he was born with astrologically. I haven't really looked into enough. That could probably aid to his healing. Sure there is, yeah.
Yeah, man, now you can kind of investigate it.
Yeah, a little bit more. Appreciate this.
Yeah, Islam. Anybody else have any thoughts? Islam, Quasicoto, happy holy day.
Islam, happy holiday.
Humble Bay,
Yeah.
happy holy day to everybody.
Happy holy day. Miss you all.
Miss you too, man. Yes, sir.
So yeah, to add to what you were saying, Sheik, with the diet, fasting is also a quick way to, even quicker than diet, to reverse issues, because you're giving the body a chance to rest especially digestive system, and get rid of all the everything backed up. So it's able to clean out the lymphatic a little more, go through a little purging. That's why people have that third day or so where they might have headaches or stomach hunger. But then after that, that third day is usually where it kind of like dies off also.
That's true.
That's where they get in the first purge. Big purge. So yeah, that'll help where you can, or, depends on nutrition issues for whoever, but.
Yeah.
This can also be used in line with eating for your blood type, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, put it all together,
Yeah, it's a full spectrum.
Yeah. And I remember in the chapter we just read in the Silent Brotherhood of the East, Mysteries of the Silent Brotherhood of the East, Yahshua was saying something about learning fire, water, air, right? And
that's true.
That goes hand in hand with the astrology diagnosing.
Right.
Yeah.
I know, yeah, it's true, because I know traditional Chinese medicine, they use a lot of the elements to balance out the body.
Mm-hmm. See
They
online.
use the different herb elements. Yeah, to stay in alignment, yeah.
Please look, he taught him how he could control the spirits of the air, the fire, the water, and the earth. And he explained to him the secret doctrine of forgiveness and the blotting out of sin. That's what Yahshua, so.
It's interesting that they said that too, right after he talks about revealing of the secret healing arts.
Exactly.
Right.
Hand in hand.
Yeah.
Between forgiveness and gratitude, those are like the majorest keys to doing any magic.
Yeah.
Facts.
Yeah. The healing arts.
Yeah.
The healing arts, and like I'm glad you said it, because it's like we transition to astro diagnosis.
The healing art.
Talking about healing astro, you know what I'm saying, astronomically.
Yeah.
So it's like, once again, Yahshua's talking about astro diagnosis, you know what I mean, or having that in play.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All things result from natural law.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
That makes so much sense. Whether harmony or disharmony.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. Yeah. And it's just like, before we got into this, we were in the circle 7, and it was just a lot of things that get revealed, because some things, like, you have to cross-reference with the metaphysical Bible, and you'll start seeing how things are written in such a way that, cross-reference,
Yeah.
I was fired up. Yeah, some people say this is the continuation or part 2 of the circle 7, but some people circle 7 have this in it already, but some don't. Like I have actually a book just called The Mysteries of the Silent Brotherhood of the East. Just another book on its own. And that's what this
That's what I thought it was. Yeah, I thought it was a whole nother book on its own.
Yeah, no, kind of is. But I guess some people, when they republish the Quran, they'll like throw that in there. I forgot it's a couple.
Yeah,
There's a couple Qurans that got it in there, like a double whammy.
yeah, that makes sense. It fits in.
Yeah, yeah. Islam Matazamaji, happy holy day. Not sure if she can hear me, but yeah, goes hand in hand. And I forgot about it. I'm glad you picked up on that. You know what I'm saying? The art of healing. And once again, you put the art of healing together with taught him how to control the spirits of the air, the fire, the water, and the earth.
Can't lose with those two.
What conclusion did you come to? You didn't hear nothing else. You just heard, Yahshua teaching people how to control the spirits of the air, the fire, the water, and the earth. And then he go to say all things result from natural law. And then he go to say, the art of healing.
That's it right there. That tells you that tells you a summation of what it is right there that you need. The art of healing has, natural law follows the order of the elements follow the order of natural law. And like, man, it's very in depth. The healing arts clearly have to do with the elements and understanding natural law and understanding how to utilize the building blocks of creation itself to heal the body that's been created.
Yeah. And it's just interesting, like I said, once again, how we transition to astral diagnosis. It makes it clear the stepping stones of these holy books that is actually meant for us to take it farther.
Right.
Just to kind of wake us up, like get us on course. But
Yeah.
like back to that refinement, it's always something to go into and the more in depth and more in depth.
That word refinement, that word that triggers something in me. I've been working on a lot of breath work, and you add the spirits of air, fire, and water and earth to the belly right there, and that's where those elements are basically being refined at.
Big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
Wow. So once again, happy holy day to everybody. Brother Toledo, Mataza Majiel, Pierre, Humble Bay. Trying to think who else I didn't.
Happy holy day, man.
Happy holiday.
Good.
Holy day.
Happy holy day to all the nobles. Was good.
Happy holy day.
Happy holiday.
Matter of fact, let me stop the recording actually.